all of you. I'm very happy to see all of you here. Thank you for coming. I wanted to give you just a little bit of the background behind this forum and what we would like to do with it. The forum is focused on economic development of Ukraine. We believe that economic development is a very critical and then probably the most needed approach to building wealth in emerging markets, in developing countries. We have a bit of a problem in the world today. We have 26, 27 so-called developed countries, and then the rest of the world is still developing, emerging, pre-emerging, pre-market, all kinds of terms. What nobody knows exactly when they will complete emerging, when they will become developed, and in fact, I'm sure that a lot of people are really trying to focus on that. Well, the answer to this question lies with economic development. It's really wealth creation, prosperity creation. How do you grow the economies of all of those countries so that people have something to eat, that people are happy and satisfied with their work? To do that, you have to have the business environment that allows private capital to invest. You need to have this wonderful market economy-based system that Morgan was talking about. And that's what economic development is all about. So we decided that it would be very important for us to, once a year, get the best minds available and talk about the progress of economic development in Ukraine. What we have committed to do is to pick the most timely, the most germane topic every year for the Ukrainian economic development and invite public, invite economic experts, invite business leaders, invite politicians to talk about that. Today, obviously, the most critical topic for Ukraine is economic crisis. And it's the global crisis. It is not the crisis that started in Ukraine. And actually, for the first time in recent memory, it is not the crisis that started in emerging markets or anywhere in the world. Actually, it started in the United States of America, which makes this crisis quite unusual in recent memory. However, it did happen. It is an unprecedented by many measures global liquidity, global financial, global economic crisis that affected every single human being on this planet. It affected all of the countries in the world. Unfortunately, some countries have been affected more than others. And Ukraine is certainly, unfortunately, one of those countries. We will talk today about why that happened, what are the causes of that, and what are the things that Ukraine, the friends of Ukraine, and Ukrainian trading partners, and Ukrainian political partners, and Ukrainian neighbors need to do to help Ukraine, and therefore help themselves to emerge from this crisis. It is interesting to note that we are almost a year from November 5th, and many of you may remember that that was the date when IMF approved the standby program for Ukraine, which in my opinion has been absolutely critical for getting Ukraine where it is today. And I very much hope that this program will continue, and I think we can address many of the issues today of what are the things that Ukrainian government needs to do to continue cooperation with the IMF, which I believe is absolutely critical. The good news, and there is good news, is that certainly we see the light of the end, at the end of the tunnel. I mean, in this country, there's a term that many of you that live in this country getting familiar with, which is green shoots. I mean, so that there's hope now. Well, we're seeing some of those in Ukraine as well. Clearly, and then Eddie will talk more about it, the economy is turning around. There is hope that there are clear signs that the economy will improve. It's not going to happen quickly. It's not going to happen overnight. But somewhere in the next 6 to 12 months, we should see a fairly significant improvement. And I think the benefit of this will be to all of the Ukrainian people, Ukrainian trading partners, and the credit for that really belongs to all the friends of Ukraine, the steps that the government has taken to get the country out of this very difficult situation. What I would like to do now is to introduce to you our keynote speakers. We have three wonderful wonderfully accomplished keynote speakers. I very much appreciate them being here with us. I think they require no introduction. You have their bios in your packets. But Deputy Prime Minister Nimeria has been one of the strongest advocates of reforms in Ukraine for a very, very long time. I've known him for a very long time, way before he became the government official. And then he, in my opinion, is one of the most impressive people that the country of Ukraine has produced. He understands exactly what the country needs to do. He understands exactly what is the value of cooperation on the global scale. And so I'm very pleased and honored to have him here in our company and then to be our first keynote speaker. Next to him is Ambassador Taylor. Obviously, he is the most recent former ambassador to Ukraine. Ambassador Miller is in the audience as well. He will participate with us in the afternoon panel. We are hoping that Ambassador Herbst will join us. One of the kind of crazy ideas I had was to invite all, I think we had 7, right? Former ambassadors. But for various reasons, I mean, some of them are in Mexico, some of them are in different other places, so it wasn't easy or possible to get them all. But I'm very happy to see them here. I'm delighted and honored to have Ambassador Taylor here with us. He has been one of the strongest champions of Ukrainian causes in this town. And I think that his views on what's going on in Ukraine and how U.S. can continue helping Ukrainian emergence from this crisis will be absolutely interesting and critical for us. And finally, Dr. Segura, next to him, he is the chairman of the board of the Bleyzer Foundation. You know, it's funny that I'm not an economist, so I would be embarrassed to have the Bleyzer Foundation or to have a forum like that if we didn't have Dr. Segura. So but for me, it is extremely rewarding personally. Eddie and I have worked together now for over 10 years. And then any question that I have on economics, I have my own encyclopedia of knowledge. And Eddie is probably the most accomplished emerging market economist in the world. He has not been recognized by Nobel Prize, at least not yet. But in my book, he is the leading mind in terms of emerging market economics. He had 25, 27 years experience with the World Bank in 35 different countries. He was the head of the World Bank mission to Ukraine for a number of years. And for the last 10 years, of course, he's been leading the efforts of the Bleyzer Foundation. And I'm very happy to see him here to present his paper. Finally, I'd like to encourage all of you to ask questions. The format, as Morgan explained, is all of you have blank pieces of paper. Please write them down. Give them to the ladies that will be happy to collect them. Please indicate if the question is for the first panel, the second panel, or the third panel. There are 3 panels today. And list a question. We will collect the questions, and we'll try to make sure that those questions are asked. Thank you very much for being here, and have a very good forum.